Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me TonniLea Larson. Hey, TonniLea.
Hi, good morning. How are you? Well, I guess it's afternoon. Sorry.
Yeah, it's going well. And I'm so excited to have you. And I'm going to read your bio just so people know who you are. So
Okay.
TonniLea Larson is the daughter of the Most High King. She is hosting her own healing conferences, event planner coordinator, empowerment recovery coach, and helping others to keep walking forward in their journey. She has also published 4 books, including her most powerful one yet, Healing Broken Women, and done many collaboration books, including The Birthing of a Queen and Warrior Women 2, and so to be published collaboration, Heal to be Healed. She has the heart to help all who have been through trauma, betrayal, and abuse, especially sexual abuse. Her life journey has taught her how to continue overcoming through the 12 steps. She's a mother of 2 children and 1 abortion, grandma of 6 grandchildren. Her loves are NASCAR, drag racing, and her old hot rod. All right, I'm excited to hear your story. So tell us about you.
Well, I was a little girl that was molested by a family member. So that kind of started life off the wrong way. And I ended up marrying 2 men that were sex addicts. I didn't know it until I started going through recovery and therapy and stuff. But I just thought, well, why am I not enough for them that they think they have to go and find other women? But it was an issue. And then, so going through the therapy and going through the 12-step recovery at heart to heart counseling, then I realized it wasn't me at all, it was them. And so that began the whole process of what I do today. So, yeah. My first book was written because a young lady that was in our group said, "Have you ever thought about writing a book? Because we have to share our work." And my letters to God and stuff would always just intrigue them. And so the first book was Prayers to a Heavenly Father.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, your story is not uncommon. A lot of women these days and for centuries have been molested by family members or people who they trusted and knew. And there is places for healing. So I want people to know that there are places for that. So if you've been through
So,
that, please, find those places. There's one organization that also I'm involved with called Sapria. They have healing. And then the place where you got healing was, you said, heart.
heart to heart counseling. Yeah. And it was Dr. Doug Weiss,
Uh-huh.
who is now married to Joni Lamb, that owns Daystar Network in Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I just wanted to say that because I know there's other people in the same situation. And so let me ask you this. Coming out of that, what were the things that helped you with your breakthroughs? Like, how did you come out of that? Because there's so many feelings that go along with that, like worthiness issues and all sorts of things.
Dr. Weiss had done the 12 steps as a recovery. So he did a book called Partners, which was specifically for partners of a sex addict, then Married and Alone, which dealt with the intimacy anorexic. And then I did another book called Betrayal and Trauma, and I forget what the other word was. But what it does is it takes you through, first of all, to know first and foremost that it had nothing to do with you, because that's the first step, is right, we're powerless, but the only thing that we are in control of is our actions or reactions,
Mhm.
no one else's. And so to get to that, of course, therapy, I did EMDR as therapy because I had PTSD. Let me back up a little bit. I divorced the husband, second husband, only to remarry him to find out within 3 months that the affair was still going on. And so I did have some PTSD issues there. And so every time I would do some, go somewhere, or, something would be said or whatever, there was always those triggers. So I had to learn too. Okay, so when I get a trigger, what do I do with that trigger? How do I process that? How do I keep myself safe? And then how do I change the reaction, or how do I put myself in a different place, so that I'm not constantly triggered? I mean, there's just a whole bunch of different little things that I had to learn, right? First of all, boundaries. Those are so essential. So you think that you can text me, all the time. No, you can't, because I said, I don't want you to bother me. So you put that out there, then you block them or whatever you have to do, right? Because to protect yourself is first and foremost. So that's why those boundaries are so essential. But going through that 12 steps was huge. Just like other addicts, go through, but this was for the partner of, or the sex, the ex-partner or whatever. So it was huge. Saved my life.
Wow. And so, how did you start doing what you're doing now?
Once my book got published by Westbo, then they teach how to market and stuff. So I was on LinkedIn a lot trying to, sell the book. I mean, that's what you do, right? I've always loved women's ministry, and I was involved in that at a younger age, and in church and stuff like that. But I had this gentleman out of San Antonio, Texas, send me a message because he had seen that I was a breast cancer survivor. And he goes, can we connect? And then he wanted to know how long you've been doing this and stuff. He goes, can you come and speak at my wife's conference? She's doing a fundraiser for breast cancer. And I was like, me? Really? Sure. Right. And it's just, then you just start marketing yourself and you just get out there. And so I've been doing this for about 4 years now.
Okay. So now you're going and you're talking to other women and doing speaking, and you do some coaching. How do you do that?
The empowerment through the 12 steps. I took the 12 steps and developed my own course. And so I take the women through there. You do the 12 steps at your own pace, right? But it's just by me asking questions, like, because there's the basis for everything that, the way that we act and the way that we react. And it's getting to the basis of that and knowing, that it may have harmed us, but, there's another way to go about life instead of feeling like we're the victim all the time, or it's the reason that we react to men the way we do. It's the reason we act to women the way we do, whatever. And so just through that. And it's just, life has taught me. I am not a therapist. I do not have a degree. I don't have a certificate, anything. It's just been life and going through so many counseling sessions.
Got it. So, women that come to you or that you're speaking to or training, what are some of the pain points they have? Like, what are the things they're dealing with day to day, even after they're out of unhealthy relationship? What are the things that are left over that they need to heal?
Oh my gosh, the memories. And sometimes, like, if you're the mother and you have young ones, you're still dealing with your ex-husband, or the dad, or whoever, and so you constantly have to guard your heart. Then those boundaries are going to have to be so essential, because of, like, if they're gaslighters, they gaslight you a lot. And a lot of people don't know exactly what all of those are, but then when you start saying, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, that happened. And it's just safeguarding yourself, because we are so priceless. We are so important. We are so beautiful, so immensely, needed in the world. And to finally know how beautiful and priceless we are, that takes an awful lot to get there. But once we do, right, we got to guard that. We got to protect that. And this one girl, she still has to deal with the dad. And so she gets triggered all the time because he'll say, no, we can't do that. No, And so there's constantly those triggers. And then it's to learn, how do you react to that? When do you say, okay, this discussion is over? When you can be a decent person, then you can call me back and we'll finish this discussion. And that's just part of the boundaries. That's part of the reaction. And that's part of guarding yourself, learning new behavior, growing stronger.
And how is it that your faith influences how you are in the world and how you're working with women?
Well, for me personally, it's huge, because I wouldn't be here today had God not, saved my life. I was born into a Christian family, went to church every time. My dad would say, every time that door's open, we're there. That's how we grew up. Sunday evening, Wednesday, Friday night, all that type of stuff. And so that's always been huge. But there was a time in my life when I was not serving God. I mean, I wanted nothing to do with him, right? Because of whatever issues I was angry about.
Mm-hmm.
And but the night that I decided I could not take anymore because I had dealt with life so much, I was tired, just tired, right? And so my life was going to be done. Just wanted to go home. I was done. There was no more fight in me. That black tunnel is really, really black. And so I wouldn't be here today without him. But to some women, they just want to know the higher power, which that's okay. So we'll work on that, whatever their higher power is. For me, it's God. I mean, there is just one God, but he plays a huge role because he's my strength and my endurance. But not everyone feels or thinks that way, and that's quite all right. So you could still do the work without having to, say that it's got religion in it or whatever.
So when these women who have been through some type of sexual abuse or, sex addicts, things like that, how do they heal to the point where they can go out and find a healthy relationship? How do you counsel them to actually find a healthy relationship? And are they able to do that after that?
And Kimberly, sometimes those issues like that those are things that I'll just say, there is no way that I can help you through that, because I just don't have the means to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they do need to get a therapist or whatever, but then I can still help them, because of the fact that it doesn't matter with a sex addict, because sometimes they have very abusive ways of doing things, right? Or they have to have, certain things, the porn and that type of stuff like that. Or the fact that they just keep going out there and they keep having an affairs, right? But that has nothing to do with us. So that step one becomes very, very important, because we cannot control anyone else's actions nor the reactions, just ourselves. And so when we come to that point, we finally figure out that we are powerless, and then we can start building our way back up, right? And sometimes there's some days that I have to go back to step one all the time, because there are things out of my control and there's nothing that I can do about it. So you go back there. You just have to go through the steps every day. But through that sexual ordeal, oh my gosh, sometimes that takes an awful lot. And it's just beyond anything that I can do. But, once they get to a point, then it's the empowerment, and then to know it had nothing to do with them. It didn't matter how they dressed, didn't matter if they had bigger breasts, littler breasts, if they lost weight, put weight on, dressed this way, dressed that. It doesn't matter, because that person is going to do what they want to do irregardless.
That makes sense, and it's good for people to know that. It's really good for
Yes.
people to know that.
Yes.
So, now that you're out of that relationship, what kind of things have you filled your life with to give you that fulfillment, that happiness? Like I mentioned in your bio, your kids, your
Yeah.
grandkids,
Well, that's
NASCAR,
not all
drag racing,
right.
hot rods. Tell
Oh
me more about
gosh.
that.
And family, sometimes family can be your worst enemy because there has been, um, especially since this divorce. I mean, there was issues before, but sometimes even though they're his stepkids, they have turned on me and even, a couple of the grandchildren. So, they feel that they have to put their boundaries in place, for whatever. So you just have to respect that. But there's a few of them I have no relationship with, and it's sad. And today I can be a friend with the ex-husband because I know that he has grown and, you know, a different person. I don't spend enough time with him to know the whole thing, but there is a change in him and I can still protect myself and be a friend with them. But, you know, um, then for myself, I had to learn who Tawny was for the first time. And it's just going out there and doing things. And now, if I get a challenge, I'll thrive because I can really thrive off of challenges.
Mhm.
Um, I've always loved NASCAR. I've always loved drag races. Always, always. So now on Sunday, I'll go to church, come home, and I'm just saying this lightly, but I'll always tell my kids or grandkids, at the time, don't bother me because I'm going to be watching and it only goes, so much because from December to February, well, March almost, there's no NASCAR, but then they're in their football. But anyway, and drag races. And then through the divorce, I kept my car that was given to me as a gift. And so I get to take it and drive it and, take it to car shows. And that's just me. That's just a love. But I also, this writing, which my grandma gave to me as a gift because she was a writer. And so she always encouraged me. So that is another love, baking and being out in the garden, being close to water. I love that. I love that because God and I just spend that time together. So there's other things like that, but it's the discovery of yourself. That's huge
Mhm.
because when we're, growing up, I was kind of like a fill-in mom and all that kind of stuff. But your mom and your wife or you're working and all of that, and there's a lot of times that we forget about ourselves, and so it was an excellent time for me to go and discover myself. Yeah.
Wonderful. And then what about like other friends, women friends? How have you filled in there for that? How to use that support system?
um don't have an awful lot of close women friends. Close friends, I can make friends with anybody. I can make friends with strangers, you just start talking to them and pretty quick you connect or whatever. um I'm not sure why that is. Sometimes I'm like, Lord Jesus, what are you doing to me? Because it's like, I don't know, I'm just kind of pulled away, but I am finding a whole new friendship and family by the move to Waco, which just happened, well, almost 4 months ago. And that has changed my life dramatically because I left the past, right? You left all of the old stuff, and I had a whole new beginning down here. So I have tons of women friends down here now. So not close yet, but I mean, yeah. So, but to be able to help other women, that's just my heart because I've been there, done that, and I need to share it.
Beautiful. So what is it you like about, besides that it's a new place away from your past, what is it you like about Waco, Texas?
Oh my goodness, the people. The people. Well, the whole journey here was just incredible, but the people here, I mean, it was like when I moved in, the neighbor came over within the first week and introduced herself and stuff like that. And then I met the kids and it was like instant, she's a grandma, so we can, so, um, it's just warm, it's inviting, and the people are it's just different. And I had lived in my hometown for 60 years, and had tons and tons of friends there, but it's just a whole different atmosphere. So the water, the trees, the green, there's just an awful lot of stuff here. The history, that's kind of like related to my family heritage too, because my great great grandfathers were not very far away from here. So that's huge.
Okay. So your family lived there, or?
No, no, my great great grandfathers way back in like 1830s or something like that were in the county next to me. My family heritage has always been huge to me, and I knew an awful lot about them and where they were and stuff. I didn't know exactly where the county was, but I knew the county. And so now I know exactly where the county is, and I went and found some more papers and stuff like that. And so that's huge to me. That is really big to me.
Have you found any old cemeteries where your
Yeah.
ancestors might be?
Well, I haven't found any ancestors, but oh, there is an awful lot because my maiden name is Milliken. And outside of College Station, there is our own little town, Milliken. And I was there a long time ago. And then there's the Milliken Pecan Farm, which one of these days I'm going to get up there to visit them. I have a cousin that lives up in Paris. But it's just, I remember my grandpa and my grandma telling me stories that they heard about when, the family was in Texas and stuff like that. So, yeah. It's huge in our family heritage. So that's why I felt like I was home, I think. Yeah.
Why do you think it's so important, that family heritage?
Oh, because my great great grandpas were believers. They were preachers back before you were supposed to be a preacher, right? I remember my grandpa telling me, and my grandma telling me, because it was my grandpa's side, but I remember him telling me of his dad, how everywhere he went back when this is when they were in Colorado, he was telling me the story, but he carried his Bible underneath of his arm. So, yeah. I mean, it's just, that's huge for me because I know how long the lineage, and my oldest aunt and I did a lot of stuff. She went through the Mormons and did a lot of research before there was ever ancestry or any of that kind of stuff. And she found an awful lot. She has us to like 1600 when the Samuel Milliken came over from Ireland. So, yeah. So we got it all in this big old map, So, but for me, it's always been huge. Yeah, I love that because that's that firm foundation. It's just like, God was speaking to me, about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the father of blessings, that goes for thousands of generations, right? And he goes, so when are you going to accept those blessings? And then that kind of, started. So
cool. So if people wanted to, connect with you, at this point, say, where they can connect with you, and also what services you have right now, or where they can get your books, things like that.
Well, and there's lots of books out there now too, because I keep getting asked to collaborate with them. So that's the wonderful part. But I have this amazing website, and it's TonniLea, TonniLea.com. And there's pretty much everything that's on there, the books and all of that. And the books are at Amazon, but you can directly get the books right off of my website and stuff. So and I have the healing conference. That is huge for me. That is a big love because I never thought that I'd be doing my own conferences. And on a flight home from Syracuse, New York, God kept saying the healing conference, it kept going over in my head. And I'm like, okay, Lord, well, what are you saying? And then he says, because you heal in so many ways, the mind, body, soul, spirit, they're all connected. And when you start healing one area, everything else gets benefited. Hopefully it's the spirit first and then everything else gets increased. But however you do it, I mean, because it all works together. And that's why they're called the healing conferences. And so I have one of those coming up September 20th and 21st in Grand Junction, Colorado. And then November 8th and 9th here in Waco. So I just love bringing in the speakers, especially if they've done it for the first time. Because I tell them we all have to start somewhere, right? Because somebody had to give us a chance. It wasn't that we just walked out there and it happened. That publisher had to give me a chance to start speaking. And so I love bringing in those. All of my the Facebook, the LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, the YouTube is all on my website, so they can connect with it there or find me. It's TonniLea Larson. So yeah, that's me.
Well, thank you. So now I have a personal question for you. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
Being near water, just it's got a nice time. And he put me out here by a lake, and there's two huge rivers that run through this town. And then when I got my landscaping, my landscaper goes, "I'm going to build you a water fountain." And I'm like, gosh, that's awesome. It's just the water speaks to me. And that comes from a Christmas that I spent all alone with God. Just kind of ended up being that way. It was not a choice, but he made the best of the day, right? And so Ezekiel 47, because the waters came from the east to the west. And it's all about, the water, the running waters, the living waters, that type of stuff. And it was just a day spent with God where he just revealed so much to me. So I've always loved the ocean. And so now it means 100 times more, and I can just go down to the river and just sit there. I'm just at peace. And it's like the river. I mean, it just runs over us. There's so much for me tied to that. So it's spiritually, but it gives me the greatest joy. It does. Just being with them. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast today and for
Thank you.
sharing your experiences and your wisdom.
Absolutely. And we all have a story. And we've all went through something. And if we're healing from it, the least we can do, the thing that we should do is go out and help someone else.
I love that. Yeah. So actually my last question is this, and you might have just answered it. What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Well, Jesus is first, but that's it. It's the sharing, because if we've come through something, we've learned something from it, hopefully, because we've gotten stronger. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be here. But what have we learned that will help someone else then? Because somebody else is going to be going through something similar. Nobody goes through the same thing, but that's how I learned, because someone else was willing to share with me what helped them. So, and that's just been my heart. I have a serving heart. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, TonniLea.
Thank you, Dr. Kimberly.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay. Thanks.